is entirely possible that next week when Le'Veon is healthy, we get 2017 Steelers Le'Veon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host tonight. My name is Nick Walsh, and I am here with the one, the only, the Vinny Gonzalez. Don't know if you needed the in front of your name, but we did it anyway. Vinny, what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. I don't know, kind of sketched out by this week with all the COVID stuff, but I'm excited still. I don't know. Football is just an undeniable machine that will plow and plow until it's over.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is going to try to turn a profit, or not turn a profit, they do that, but they're going to try and create as much profit as they can at all costs. So COVID be damned. We're going forward as much as possible. I think there is a little bit of worry with the Patriots having that positive test, but we'll get into that in a moment. We are here with the Week 6 preview. Normally, if we don't get an early one out during the week, it means we missed a game, but this week we did not. There was no Thursday Night Football, so you are all good. We are going to cover all the games that are going on this week. So, we're going to get on through them. But before we do that, there are several teams on a bye, and then we'll get into the COVID situations. The Week 6 byes right now are the Raiders, the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Chargers. So I think through all of those, a pretty decent amount of fantasy relevant players, particularly with like Seahawks, Saints, Chargers. I guess the Raiders too, with Waller and with Jacobs. Jeez.
I was gonna say it's a big week for like missing some of the top running backs. Like you don't have Carson, you don't have Jacobs, you don't have Kamara. Yeah, and that's like one of the roughest spots or positions this year for sure.
Yeah, I literally own a Josh Jacobs jersey. I cannot believe that I didn't remember his name.
I kind of thought your computer stopped because I was just like, Walsh knows this.
Man, didn't do well there. But let's get into these COVID situations. So going back to the first report of the week, the Falcons had a couple positive tests. My understanding is that game is not at risk. Is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, I think they got cleared to go back into the facilities like today. So that's
okay.
I think that was over and done with.
And then we also had the Colts, but those, I believe the situation was they were false positives.
Yes. Reliable.
I'm going to double check with you on all of these because literally, we're recording this on Friday night. If you're listening to this on Saturday afternoon, everything may have changed.
Also, yes. Reliable Jim Irsay was like, nope, they were false positives. And that was kind of just it. So there you go.
Hey, if Jim Irsay says it, then it's true, right? You can trust him like you would trust your pastor or whatever, rabbi, whatever denomination you want to go with. And then the one this morning was the Patriots, which is supposedly a positive player test from what I'm aware of. I'm worried, and I think the NFL should be worried because this is a game that was already moved back a week, the Broncos and the Patriots. It was moved back a week to deal with the COVID situation last week. Clearly the Patriots aren't doing something right. But yeah, do you have any updates on this, or am I as up to date as we are at this point in time?
No, I mean, that's as up to date as I am. I could see this. I don't know. Maybe they want to fuck around and do the Tuesday thing again, but I am totally not sure. Once you move a team's bye week, that's pretty much their one, gimme, their mulligan for the year for the COVID stuff. And then it's just anything beyond that, you're fucking up multiple things.
Yeah, I mean, last week they did do certain things where it was this game is moved to week 11 and this game is moved to week 7. And they did a handful of those sort of things where they shuffled around the schedule. But it seems like you would really have to play some pretty serious schedule Tetris in order to make this work if you did have to cancel this game. So,
exactly.
Like we said in the beginning, the NFL is a machine that exists to make a ton of money. And I would think that they're going to try to play this game unless it's really, really bad not to. So,
right. I think it's just going to be a full go. I think if they play it at 1:00 or they play it on Tuesday, Like that seems to be their only options other than like the forfeit route, which NFL is avoiding at all costs, clearly. So I think we're a go.
Yeah, definitely. And, maybe that changes. Maybe it does get moved to Tuesday. I kind of liked having Tuesday night football, honestly.
It was nice. The only downside was Thursday. I was like a lost puppy, like around the house. I'm just like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something, but I have no idea.
Yeah. Empty. I went for a walk last night. I was like, this is weird. But yeah, we'll see how all that goes. So I guess without further ado, let's jump into the games for week 6, and we are going to start with your Cincinnati Bengals at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are an 8-point favorite. The over-under here is 46.5. So Colts pretty heavy favorites in what we expect to not be a terribly high-scoring game. For the Bengals, it's tough, man, because this Colts defense is really, really good. They're first in Football Outsiders DVOA, and not in a weird fluky way. They're first in pass DVOA and fourth in rush DVOA. This defensive line is spectacular with the addition of DeForest Buckner over the offseason. And then the secondary is getting it done with that zone secondary. So what do you think about the Bengals and their prospects this week?
I'm thinking it's very close to a sit everybody, because I thought they would make adjustments when they were playing the Ravens, and that did not happen whatsoever. They were doing long developing pass plays against a very lethal front. And I was just like, that is just an awful game plan. Obviously, Burrow got killed. They put up 3 points in the most bitch way possible with the field goal at the end there. So they really had nothing going against the Ravens. I can expect that to continue against the Colts. So Colts are probably going to be a very similar situation where the Bengals have very little to do. The one guy I would possibly want to get in lineups is Tyler Boyd, just because he seems to be Joe Burrow's favorite target. The Colts aren't very good against the slot, so that's where the damage can get done. But other than that, even that's a risky play. I just think that it's going to be very similar to last week, where they can't really get any traction or anything done. And then I guess Joe Mixon too, just off of volume as well. But those are you're stuck, and those are just kind of your guys kind of plays. If you have a lot of depth and you can avoid playing those guys, I would suggest that way.
See, I'm not on the avoid Mixon. I think Mixon to me is a definite start. Boyd, I'm looking for other options, and I do agree that he's definitely the best out of their pass catchers. But Mixon in the past 3 weeks, floor of 72% snaps, he got up to 83% in week 4. And it over the past 2 weeks has 49 carries and also has added 14 targets to go along with that. So the Mixon usage is high, and those are in very different game scripts as well. Like you said, last week against Baltimore, they pretty much couldn't get anything going. And it's not like Mixon was great, but he was used. And the week before in the shootout game with Jacksonville, Mixon was also used both as a runner and a pass catcher. So to me, he's a definite go for it. And I think he might be an interesting daily fantasy play if he is not owned. But yeah, Boyd, I agree, is the best wide receiver. There's it's sort of up in the air whether AJ Green is going to play. I think either way, you don't touch him or T. Higgins in this matchup, right?
Yeah, you do not want the outside guys against the Colts. Boyd, and then the Joe Mixon usage should get him a nice floor. But again, the matchup's just fucking – the Colts are good.
Yeah, they're a very, very good defense. And kind of surprisingly, I don't think anyone really saw this coming. but
it always happens, man. The best defense is always just some random team that makes a couple additions and it goes under the radar, and they're just off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, defense is less sticky year to year than offense is, and it makes sense. So this is just one of those cases where the Colts appear to have it this year. So let's move to their side of the offense, where this is theoretically a great situation for them as 8-point favorites, but Phillip Rivers is fucking bad.
He doesn't look good at all.
He's not he's gonna get $25 million this year to suck, and then he's gonna retire to Florida with his 900 children, right? That's what's happening.
I mean, pretty much, right? And then I don't know. We're giving up Drew Brees a lot of shit for looking washed, and he looks a lot better than Phillip Rivers. So yeah, and already there's been like rumors and whispers of Jacoby Brissett. So not good, especially when your team is performing very well. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops like throughout the season.
Yeah, you have to be playing really bad for like your team. What's their record right now? I'm not
3-2.
Yeah, if your team is 3-2 and you're they're considering yanking you for like the dude that they paid you $25 million to replace, like that's not good. It's not a good sign. Oh. So we'll see what happens there. But I think the guys we do need to talk about here are T.Y. Hilton was back to being a full-time player this past week, getting the majority of snaps after sort of hovering around a 50% snap share the weeks before. He saw 10 targets. He saw 111 air yards, led the team in both of those categories. Is he a guy you want to roll out against the Bengals?
Not particularly. I do like his increased usage and increased play over it's encouraging season long, but Bengals have been pretty good against the pass, and teams haven't necessarily needed to pass against them because their rush D is so bad. So I think it's going to be a big Jonathan Taylor game. And then I think Wilkins might be out. So I think it's going to be almost a two-headed monster with Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines, who both kind of become plays just because they're so, susceptible to the run. But I think that takes away from Hilton's upside. And basically his floor hasn't been all that great. So I think I'm going to stray away from that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't actually know that Wilkins was potentially not going to play. I did know that he did not play much last week. Let's see, did not practice Thursday and Friday after a limited session on Wednesday. Appears to be a true game time decision. Mm-hmm. So that makes me like Jonathan Taylor a lot more than I was going to come on here and say. Because Jonathan Taylor theoretically is a great play here, but he's theoretically been a great play for a couple weeks this season where it just hasn't panned out. So if we're going to, move this down to a two-headed committee where you would expect Jonathan Taylor to maybe get 70% of the workload against a Bengals team that, like you said, has been pretty good against the pass, but has been pretty fucked up by the run. This to me seems like a very, very good spot for Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. Have you seen like these videos of him where, and like the stats kind of back it up, where he's like not getting yardage he should be, but like you can pull up clips of him like having a wide open hole and just running into the offensive line. I don't know. Like it's like,
I have not seen those, but
I know he's like an athletic freak or like that kind of thing. And he was super productive at Wisconsin, but like, and
didn't they like also like run him so much, even for like a college back? Like, so
yeah,
maybe it's just losing it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like and you can do this with Josh Allen too, where you can pick out like a play or two and be like, this guy is an idiot because like he misses it by a mile, So I don't want to like take it as gospel, but I have seen a couple of clips where it's just like wide open hole to like in between the left tackle and the left guard. And Jonathan Taylor is just hammering into the back of the center and the right guard, like that kind of thing.
Well, I will say this. He will not have that problem against the Bengals. I feel like they will be so wide that he will go right through them, even on accident. So,
okay. So I think we're both on the smash Jonathan Taylor sort of thing in there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Who we taking here?
I'm going to go with the Colts here.
You have little faith. No, I'm going to take the Colts too. Bears at Panthers. Panthers are a 1.5 point favorite with the over under at 44.5. So we don't expect a ton of scoring here. And I think for good reason. The Panthers have been a pretty decent offense, but the Bears defense is very, very good. And the Panthers pass defense has actually been a lot better than you would have expected going into the year. So let's start on the Bears side of the ball with Nick Foles, who is managing to win games. They're the worst like 4-1 team that you could possibly think of. And of course I bet they're the under on their win total at 8, it's just like unreal. But whatever, we don't need to worry about that. Nick Foles against this Panthers defense, like I said, a little bit better against the pass. Is there any streamer potential here?
No, none. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, pretty easy. So for his pass catchers, we've got Allen Robinson, who's an every week start. Do you like Jimmy Graham as a potential tight end streamer here?
He's been better than like we want him to be, just because we've been trashing him, but he has been playing very well. So I feel like he'd get away with it, maybe sneak a touchdown, but that's probably his ceiling. And again, that's tight end, so go for it.
Yeah, he's a fine tight end play to me. I don't want any piece of Mooney or Miller in this matchup. I don't necessarily think that's great. So let's move on to David Montgomery, who is also kind of a smash because
I was about to say if he's not running back one, it's probably going to be Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean the matchup is just as good as you can possibly get. Todd Gurley looked spectacular against the Panthers this past week, and he has knees made out of like duct tape. So you would think David Montgomery should be able to do a great job here. And David Montgomery, since Tariq Cohen went down, has been getting over 80% of the snaps. He set career highs in targets both of the past 2 weeks. Like, he's the guy. I thought Cordarrelle Patterson might take on a bigger role. He hasn't. It's all Montgomery. So Montgomery getting all the work against a very, very bad rushing defense to me seems like a no-brainer. And I'm interested to see how the ownership comes out on DraftKings on that one. But yeah, do you have anything else on?
I would imagine it's going to be pretty high. I think this is a very, very easy slam.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think some people are just going to have like difficulty like actually clicking that button on like David Montgomery, just because
a little bit.
He's not super.
The Bears' offense has been very stifled by Foles. So, but in a game where I don't know, we expect it to be a low total, even though the Panthers are playing kind of out of their minds, like they're
playing great football,
very well. So this will be an interesting one. Like I expect it to stay low, but if the Panthers start just like fucking them up, I don't know how David Montgomery is gonna. Like he should be able to make a dent in the passing game too, but his rushing upside is definitely like the money in this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great rushing upside, and if the Panthers do just come out of the gates and wreck him, like I said, he's gotten 6 and 8 targets in the past 2 weeks, both of which are career highs. I think that doesn't necessarily harm. I mean, it lowers his ceiling, but it doesn't necessarily harm him, in terms of his floor. So very, very solid play in David Montgomery. For the Panthers, last week was sort of the like, if on DraftKings you had played Teddy, Mike Davis, Robbie, and DJ, like you would have smashed just all in the same lineup because they all had great games. This is not that week for them. So
no.
For me, it's Mike Davis and it's Robbie. And I don't know if you're sitting DJ, but I'm anxious about him.
I would let DJ ride just because he had his best game. I mean, it was against the Falcons and it was kind of expected after all the targets and air yardage. But here, I don't know. I feel like most people with DJ Moore are just kind of going to leave him in the lineup for upside, as minimal as it might be in this matchup. But with Robbie, I think, you got to play him. He's been spectacular, top 10 wide receiver, beyond expectations in every single facet of the game. Really looks great and is definitely Teddy's favorite target. And then Mike Davis keeps on rolling, and the news on Christian McCaffrey is possibly week 8 return, or was that what I put in the notes here?
Yeah, no, yeah. It was week 8.
Week 8.
He's technically eligible this week to return, but
they immediately said like no.
Yeah, they immediately said no, and it is a high ankle sprain. It is one of those things like Saquon had the high ankle sprain last year, came back in like 2 weeks or whatever it was, but looked like shit until the end of the season. So. I don't think it's an injury that you want to rush back, which makes me nervous about just having traded for Michael Thomas, who had the same injury, but we'll get to that later on. Or no, we won't because he's on the bye. Right. Whatever. I'm just throwing in these things for what they are, I guess. The other guy I want to bring up, just for the sake of it, it's theoretically a decent matchup for Curtis Samuel because the Bears have been hurt in the slot more than any other wide receiver position. Do you have any inkling of playing Curtis Samuel?
Nah, man, he's 4 fourth.
I straight
option.
up dropped him in like
I did too.
A couple leagues. Like
I think I'm in the 12-teamer. I dropped him. I'm just like I can't do this anymore. So.
Yeah, like there's just nothing. Like there's nothing there, and maybe we'll get proven wrong. But
so behind the eight ball, man, in this offense. So I don't like it.
All right, who you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Panthers here.
Yeah, me too. I want my bet to hit, and this is the week that starts it. All right, Lion. The Bears. The Bears under.
Yeah. Gotcha. Let's start making that happen.
Yeah, please lose because we all know you're bad. Just lose games.
Hurry up.
This is one of those two where I'm just never going to take an L. Even if they win like nine or 10 games or whatever, I'm going to be like, the team still sucked, like I'm never going to admit that I was wrong on that one. Even though their defense I'm pretty sure I went on a rant this offseason about how the Bears defense was not going to be good, and their defense is very good. So I was wrong on that. But anyway, Lions at Jaguars. The Lions are a 3-point favorite. The over under is 54.5. That is a sexy over under. That is a sexy spread, because that means we're looking at a close, high-scoring game with shootout potential. On the Lions side, Stafford is like an obvious start, right?
Stream, I guess. I feel like most people would be doing that, but we got Russ on the bye, Breeze on the bye, Herbert if you were playing him. So, yeah, I think Stafford's way up there. Yeah,
I mean – just looking at the point total and everything, and the Jaguars defense has been the worst in the league per Football Outsiders DVOA this year. I love Stafford this week. I think it's a great situation. And I think for his top two pass catchers, who are Kenny Golladay and TJ Hawkinson, I think absolute must starts, in this week.
Yeah, I agree. The Jaguars have just been fucking flat out terrible. So I think all those guys are huge shoe-ins, but the problem I have is with the running backs. I still don't know what the fuck is going on there. Hopefully Swift kind of pulls away with this job after the bye. You got Peterson kind of on the mend with an illness. Carry on just kind of showing up. So I feel like this could be a game where Swift possibly steps up.
Okay, if I had to pick one, I would take Peterson for this one just because they're a favorite, but I don't like it. I don't like any of it. And the one thing that makes me a little bit nervous about, saying that Stafford, Golladay, and Hawkinson are great plays is like, what if Matt Patricia is just like, we're going to feed it to Adrian Peterson 24 times? It's like, like
that would kill me.
Yeah. Like in a week where I want to like play the fuck out of these guys, like it's within the realm of possibility. I don't think it's likely, but I might be underestimating like
how stupid he is.
Yeah. Just, I don't know.
Kenny Golladay and Hawkinson should have 2 touchdowns each in this game easily, and watch Peterson just have 3 for no reason.
Yeah, if Adrian Peterson gets 25 carries in this game, I am going to, and for legal reasons, I'm going to say the rest of what I'm going to say is a parody, or it is alleged. I'm going to show up at Matt Patricia's house with a gun, but again, that's a parody. It is meant to be not real. But yeah, I'm going to show up at his house with a gun if Adrian Peterson gets 25 or more carries in this.
Right. And that's open-ended. You could have a permit to carry. You could just want to talk to him. There's really nothing.
Maybe he's got critters in his backyard, maybe he's got like some possums or some raccoons or something. I don't know.
Also didn't say which kind of gun. So I feel like you didn't even have to say it was a parody. You're fine.
Yeah. Do we need to talk about Marvin Jones? Are we fully off?
Fuck Marvin Jones. If we were talking about dropping Curtis Samuel on a good offense and like the Lions have been kind of spotty, like get rid of Jones, dude.
Got it. This is the week that Marvin Jones goes for 3 touchdowns, like 100%.
There will always be one. There will always be one. And there will definitely be audio of us talking shit about him the week before. So.
Yeah. No, for what it's worth, I agree with you completely. I don't think he should even be considered, but like, that probably means this is the week. So we'll see what happens.
We'll say when he does have that 3 touchdown week, just watch like the waivers go through and then find the Rube in your league that picks him.
Yeah, seriously. All right, Jaguars side of the ball. Gardner Minshew. He had that one bad week in an island game, but other than that, he has really just played great this whole year. I think he's a great start in this week as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's been kind of like you don't want to pull the trigger on Minshew as excited as we were in the beginning of the season, because he laid that egg on, prime time against the Dolphins. But here, I think he's pretty much on par with Stafford as like how good he could be. Like his ceiling is probably 25 points here.
Yeah, I do think it's a big deal as to whether or not DJ Shark plays. And he is questionable for this game.
Didn't practice all week either.
Yeah, it's tough. And the reason I say that is because his replacement is Chris Conley, who is actively bad, I think. And in this game, the Lions are last in the league in pressure rate. They have the worst pass rush in the entire league so far this season. DJ Shark is the deep threat, and Chris Conley, if DJ Shark does not play, is the deep threat. So you would think in that sort of situation, the deep threat would have more time to get loose. Might be someone to go after. I say this as someone who owns a lot of DJ Shark, but please play DJ. But yeah, it's, without DJ Shark on the perimeter, and I think if DJ Shark is on the perimeter, it's a great week for him. But without him, I might downgrade Minshew a little bit.
I like that. Very good assessment, Walsh. I didn't really put too much because I was like, plug and play. Keelan Cole's okay. Maybe D. Westbrook shows his face, but yeah, I think you're way more on target there.
The other people we need to talk about in this offense are Laviska Shenault, who had a great week this past week. Like I said, I think this is more of a DJ Shark week if he does play, but I don't mind Laviska, and I'm probably going to end up having to play him if DJ Shark does not play. So I think he's fine. Do you have an opinion on him?
No, I like that play a lot too. I think regardless if Shark goes or not, I think he's still a play. I like Shenault this week a lot.
Cool. And then we need to talk about James Robinson, who is another.
You also traded for.
Yeah. I own 3 Jaguars and 2 Broncos after this week. Feels pretty good. Great play this week. This Detroit Lions run defense is absolutely terrible. And with even though the Jaguars are underdogs in this matchup, Robinson gets a lot of the pass work as well. He's been getting like a 4-target floor basically for this season. Love the play this week.
Yeah, me too. He's all the way there. I think it's a great running back spot for him.
All right. Who you got in this one?
I will go with the Lions. Please don't fuck this up, Matt Patricia.
I will take the Jaguars then.
Nice.
All right. Falcons at Vikings. Another high over-under game. Actually, the exact same over-under, 54.5. This one, we've got the Vikings at -4. So starting with the Falcons, who fired Dan Quinn, it's about fucking time, and Thomas Dimitroff, their general manager. I don't know if we really can expect too much in terms of changes from all that. So where do we look at the Vikings this week? And I guess start with Matt Ryan. I just dropped him in the league where I had him, our main league, because he has sucked. But this is a good matchup, right?
Yeah, it is. But, he broke your trust a little bit. He just kind of faltered in too many good matchups. And there was a lot of injuries and a lot of fuckery on their team. So I guess it's just a culmination of things, but there's really no confidence level with Matt Ryan. So I respect the drop and I respect the commitment to it. And I would rather play Kirk Cousins if we're looking at this matchup, like just on an even plane. So,
and that's the exact drop that I did. So,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I dropped Matt Ryan.
Go. Full circle,
Kirk Cousins.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right. So, all right, sweet. Opinions match up, and I guess the stats and confidence level matches as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Vikings defense, it's not as bad as like we kind of thought it was going to be after the first couple of weeks. Looking at the DVOA, they're actually 8th in pass DVOA and 27th in rush DVOA at this point in the season. So some of their young cornerbacks, the Christian Fultons and Cam Dancers of the world, have apparently stepped up a little bit, and the pass defense seems to have been a little bit better than we thought. So that's part of why I made that decision. But yeah, Matt Ryan, not someone I'm actively trying to start after 3 weeks of him being pretty bad in decent to okay matchups.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, though, I mean, Julio's back. But Calvin Ridley is obviously a must start.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for him. He's fucking ready to roll at all times. Obviously, Julio's not going to be 100%, but he will be playing. So I think Calvin Ridley continues to roll.
And with Julio playing, you have to play him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is there anyone else in that pass game that you're looking for, like Hurst, Gage, Zacchaeus, if you want to get?
I think we're past the cute phase with the Falcons for now.
All right.
So we're going to throw them in the trash.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you looking at Russell Gage, I'm pretty sure he hasn't exceeded 4 targets in the past 3 weeks after like a hot start to the season. So don't bark up that tree. And the same thing for Hurst, who I think is also going into this week questionable. Now, Todd Gurley, I just mentioned that the Vikings defense is worse against the run than they are against the pass. Todd Gurley is coming off a huge week against Carolina. Are you trusting him this week?
Yes. Yeah, completely. He's been their guy. I mean, we kind of called it like in the off season and throughout the season, like he's a typical, like you want to get him 15 plus touches a game. And that's what the Falcons have been doing. And he's been excelling, and he's got pretty good matchups the last couple of weeks. And I think ahead going forward, especially starting with this one, well, starting with the Panthers last week, but continuing the trend like against the Vikings here. I love him. I think it's a very good play, and it's not like you're not going to play him if you own Todd Gurley. So I think his matchups kind of get a little harder. So maybe look out for like some trade candy for some people if he starts really popping off. But as like a sell high kind of dude, but he's been doing very well in a spotty type of offense.
Yeah, I would say ride it at least the next 3 weeks because he's got Minnesota, Detroit, and Carolina. And this is a guy with between 15 and 21 touches in every single game so far this season. So if you have been riding Todd, continue to ride Todd for at least that amount of games.
I agree.
All right, Vikings side. We just talked about Kirk Cousins. I obviously picked him up in this matchup. The Falcons have been ass cheeks against the pass, and they have been better against the run. And we do have Dalvin Cook out. But one thing the Falcons have not been good against is defending running backs in the pass game. So do you trust Alexander Mattison enough for him to be a definite start this week?
I don't think you really have a choice. I mean, I think if you have Madison on your team, whether you're a Dalvin Cook owner or someone just picked him up to be a dick, I think he's in your lineup. Opportunity is too great. Yeah,
I completely agree. I mean, we've seen what Dalvin Cook has done. Mike Boone got like 2 carries this past week, only a handful of snaps. It should be the Alexander Mattison show in a great matchup, even though, like I said, their run defense is better than you would think. But they give up a lot to the running backs in the pass game, and we know Madison can catch passes as well. So the rest of the Vikings, Adam Thielen, wide receiver 1 this year, absolute stud, just going nuts all the time. I just traded him away, which was very, very hard, but what can you do? Obvious must start. So let's talk about Justin Jefferson and Irv Smith because Jefferson has been the number 2 guy for a number of weeks now. But then this past week, Irv Smith kind of came out of his grave and had a quietly decent week with 5 targets. So do you like either of these guys in this matchup?
Love Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to go off simply because Falcons are giving up like massive plays, like over 20 yards, and Justin Jefferson has been doing that since he started getting hot against the Titans. So I think that continues here, and he's just as good as like a Thielen play. I even could see the possibility of him outscoring Thielen in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. The Vikings seem to be a team that just throws the ball downfield a lot. Both of these guys have very high ADOTs. So, very much about it.
Irv, not so much. Do you remember our bet too? We have the Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith bet.
Oh God, that is so gross.
Yeah, it's awful.
I was on the Irv Smith side, right?
Yes, you were. I think I'm winning right now, but after seeing him kind of get more targets and stuff, I think I'm kind of fucked.
We have like the worst bets ever. I know like the last podcast we did, we made like 5 bets and I don't remember a single one of them, but
That's just how it goes, man. But I don't know. I think I'm going to need to see it from Irv Smith first. I mean, this is a good matchup, and I guess you can swing it, but I would like to see him like come down with like 5 for 70-ish and a touchdown before I consider playing him.
Yeah, I mean, to put it this way, I'd be playing Tanyan over him. I would be playing definitely Hooper, probably Ebron.
About Evan Ingram?
Yeah, I actually have a take on Evan Ingram later, but yeah, we'll get to that, I guess, next game. Yeah, Irv Smith is not a guy that I'm looking to play this week. I just wanted to bring him up because he did get 5 targets and you know, had a pretty decent game this past week.
Yeah, a little tasty treat for you. Keep an eye on him. All
right, who you taking here?
Falcons upset. Fuck it. They ride high off the firing Dan Quinn high. Don Quinn.
Don Quinn, the worst coach of all time. Don Quinn, like the evil twin of Dan Quinn. Anyway, I'm going to take the Vikings. Let's move on to the Washington football team at the New York Giants. The Giants are a 3-point favorite with an over-under of 43.5. On the football team side, it looks like Kyle Allen is going to start from everything that I've seen. I know he is cleared to play. Do you have any other insight on that?
No, that's what it is. But I will point out that last week, I don't know, Ron Rivera made a very sketch decision to like protect Kyle Allen by letting Alex Smith die. Last week, that was the whole thing.
Alex Smith took 5 sacks.
In a massive rainstorm, dude. And then, like, he's just like, yeah, you know, we got to protect Kyle Allen. He's our starter. It's like, what are you talking about? Get that guy out of there.
Yeah, that's, you know, I like Riverboat Ron. I have liked him for a while. But
I do too, but
that is a questionable decision, given Alex Smith's history with everything and the fact that
Alex Smith's third play, he's fucking giving Aaron Donald a piggyback ride. I'm like, his leg is going to snap.
Yeah.
It's rough.
And the fucking broadcast is cutting to his wife and kids in the stands, like crying the entire time. I'm like, oh man, what do we do here? But anyway, Kyle Allen's going to start, I guess. This is a bad matchup for everyone on this team because the Giants have been sneaky decent against the run. Their defense really hasn't been that bad. And the only guy who you would normally want to play, Terry McLaurin, is going to be matched up against James Bradbury, who has absolutely shut down a lot of people so far this year. So to me, not a single play on the football team that I'm really trying to make this week.
Yeah, it's a little tough. It's very similar to the Bengals matchup where like you can get away with a Terry play, like you could get away with the Boyd play, and you can get away with the Gibson play. Not as much as the Mixon spot, but if you want to play Gibson, he's been kind of edging out like, you know, his fair share in the backfield. But again, yeah, like you said, sneaky bad matchup against the Giants. But I don't know. Kyle Allen played decent against the Rams when he was in, so I'm eager to see how it looks. Just because I believe that there's no way the Giants put together a good enough game for 4 quarters where the football team won't get it rolling at some point in like good positive field position. So there is that positive, but that's getting way, way into like nuances and too much shit. So we'll just go with the fact that this is a rough matchup. And if you can avoid these plays, do it.
Yeah. I mean, Gibson is probably fine. And honestly, McKissick has like a catch floor that is a certain thing, but he has absolutely no ceiling. So, you know, I wouldn't think too much into that, but you should be playing the football team's defense, who is a great defensive line up against the Giants offensive line that is not good. So that's the one play I guess I can recommend for them. On the Giants side of the ball, again, not really many plays that you're looking to make here. I don't think it's a good matchup for Freeman, even though he's been getting a lot of the work. I don't think it's a good matchup for Slayton because the football team gets good pressure and the offensive line is bad. I hinted at it before. It's Evan Ingram post-hype week this week.
So I'm playing him over Gesicki currently, and I hate myself.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that on it, but I'm on him as like a contrarian tournament play in DraftKings.
Oh fuck. All right, yeah. So I'm sick to myself. I'm probably gonna switch out because I just would hate to see Gesicki go off against the Jets, which is obviously the better play here. You're risking so much. Will Daniel Jones get the ball to this motherfucker? But Washington football team is awful against tight end. I think they're third worst.
They're in Football Outsiders DVOA. They are 32nd out of 32 against the tight end.
They are the worst. So, it was weird because Evan Ingram was getting peppered with targets. The thing that scares me a little bit is they've been getting healthier and healthier at wide receiver. So I don't know if they want to spread it around a little bit. But you got to fucking funnel it to this guy. He's just too good.
Dude, the thing is the pressure is going to be high. Like I said, the offensive line is bad. Chase Young is back. This defensive line is good. Evan Ingram has a 4.5 ADOT, which is stupid on its face because Jason Garrett is not smart. But if we're going to assume that they're going to feed Evan Ingram really, really close to the line of scrimmage targets and that Daniel Jones is going to be under a ton of pressure and that this team is bad against the tight end, all of those things line up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think if you have him, it's a huge, I feel like he's got a high floor and a high ceiling. So I think it's a safer tight end play than normally for Evan Ingram here.
Yeah. Floor at tight end is a relative thing, but yes, I agree with you. I think
fair enough.
For tight end, he has a pretty high floor, and I definitely think he has a high ceiling because if we also remember back to when Evan Ingram was crushing, he would have 80-yard receptions because he's an athletic freak. So if you get the ball in his hands and the defense fucks up in a small way, that could be enough. That's why I like him on DraftKings so much this week is because I think he's going to be low owned. And I think he has really big play potential, even with his very low ADOT.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Who you got in this matchup?
I'm going to take the Washington football team.
I will take the Giants. Daniel Jones is going to get a win, I guess. Still has not thrown a touchdown pass since week 1. Hopefully that changes and it goes to Evan Ingram this week.
At least one.
Ravens at Eagles with an over-under of 47.5. The Ravens are a 7.5 point favorite. The Ravens, despite having a good record, have really not done a ton for fantasy this year.
They've been weird. Very weird.
That's a dumb question. You're playing Lamar. You have to play Lamar.
Of course.
You have to play Andrews.
Yes, you do. Eagles are, I think, if Washington football team is the worst, I think they're followed very closely by the Eagles against tight end. I'm
taking a look at the DVOA and 30th. Yes. So
let's go.
Not good. Philly's pass defense in general is pretty fucking terrible. They're 29th in pass DVOA. So
that's because they just fucking stop the running back at all costs. So
yeah,
they get beat the fuck up in the pass.
So I guess what we're saying is Jackson, yes, you're still playing. Andrews, you're definitely playing. Is Hollywood Brown a must play in this matchup?
Must play. No, but a good play. I think he's a good play.
Okay. Yeah. I can't really argue with that. It's he's such a weird guy this year. The
Ravens are a weird team. Sometimes it's Mark Andrews gets 10 targets and you're all right. And then Hollywood gets 15 or something. It's what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Hollywood has a floor of 6 targets this year, so I guess he's a must-play in this matchup. So those are your guys. You don't have to play anyone else, and don't play anyone in the run game.
Yeah, they're fucked at running back, so
yeah,
we'll stay away from that forever.
Yeah, I was on J.K. Dobbins, and I have dropped him everywhere that I drafted him. So
it's good move.
Yeah. All right, Eagles side of the ball. They're going to be without Lane Johnson at right tackle. They're going to be without Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey. So we're looking at and Dallas Goedert as well. Though I will say Dallas Goedert eligible to come off IR next week. If you are tight end hungry, drop one of your dumbass bench players and pick up Dallas Goedert before other people do. I did that in 3 leagues this week. So
not a bad idea.
I literally like 40 minutes before the podcast in our main league, I dropped JD McKissick for Dallas Goedert.
Making moves.
Yeah. So that being said, it's difficult to really pick out anyone you want to start here besides Miles Sanders, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are probably inclined to play Travis Fulgham, but I don't know. Is that point chasing? Is that stupid? I mean, I really can't.
It's both point chasing and it's stupid
because it's a rough ass matchup, and it's just, it seems like a recipe for disaster. I think he should be owned. He should 100% be owned. And absolutely. I'm also not opposed to owning John Hightower, who had 210 air yards on 6 targets last week. So he is clearly the 1-to-1 replacement for Deshaun Jackson in terms of roles in this offense. And if you get like a weak pass rush and Carson Wentz actually gets time, like he might be a guy. But yeah, like you can't play anyone on the Eagles besides, I guess, Ertz and Miles Sanders because the usage is just too good for Miles Sanders. Yeah, usage for sure for Miles Sanders. I would love to say the usage is there for fucking Ertz, but it just kind of hasn't been. And I'm not sure why. Like it's right up his alley. Like everybody's hurt. I don't think the defenses are necessarily like taking him away. So I really don't know what the problem is. I think he has a good game here though. And I think you just keep riding him out.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you own him, you're probably playing him. My professional opinion is that Zach Ertz is washed. But, he's like 31 years old.
I was going to say, it's not that bad. He's not that old.
Dude, 31 in the NFL can be kind of old. But, yeah, I don't know. I think he's toast. I think he's done for. And I will rue the day that he comes back from the dead. But we'll see what happens. I am taking the Ravens here.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Browns at Steelers. We have – on the Browns side, the Browns, this is an interesting matchup because the Browns have been great at running the ball. The Steelers are good at stopping the run. The Browns have a great offensive line in terms of pass rush. The Steelers have a great pass rush. Who wins out in this matchup? Sorry, did I mention the spread? I don't think I did. Steelers 3.5-point favorites, over under 51.5, which is way higher than I thought it was going to be. So take that into account. But do you think the Steelers line can, which side of the trenches wins in this?
Steelers. I think the fact that the Browns are missing Chubb, I think, is going to be the huge game changer here. Like Hunt can't really do it all, and the Browns really just want to ground and pound. Like Hunt isn't do it all kind of back, but the way they were winning games was just ground and pound and destroying teams like that. So I feel like they really needed that. Well, they would have needed this in this matchup. So I think the Steelers just kind of take a hold of that. And I think Hunt still has a good game, but I think that the Browns kind of lose their edge in this one.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm still just hung up on that over under. Like, I feel like with a 50 plus point over under
over, I feel like it's very high.
Yeah, it feels really high to me too, and that makes me feel like I'm missing something. I guess on the Brown side of the ball, like Baker has been fine for what they've asked him to do, which is not a ton.
Right, and he honestly hasn't looked like with the eye test. He's looked pretty bad, honestly, but he's been getting it done, but really doesn't look mechanically sound or comfortable. So I don't know. And he's a little banged up at practice this week. I just don't like anything kind of on the Brown side other than rolling out Odell as usual.
Interesting. Because the other thing, Hunt, I think, is a must play.
Oh, yeah. From before. Yeah. Okay.
Right. But so over the past 2 weeks, Odell, Landry, and Hooper have all had at least 15 targets. And I know this is a bad matchup, but I don't know, Landry and Hooper, out of that, Odell had 17, Landry and Hooper each had 15. I know Odell gets the downfield targets. He's definitely the best play out of the three, but I'm kind of tempted by Landry and Hooper with that up, and also knowing that the Steelers are probably going to be ahead in this game, if that makes sense.
So the Browns are definitely going to have to play catch up.
Right. So in that case, wouldn't we want Landry and Hooper?
I just feel like Landry and Hooper haven't played up to their standard. And like last week, Jarvis was part of the game plan and kind of got fucked up with the hip thing again, which he had surgery over the offseason, banged up all week with that. So I just feel like there's injury risk and cause for concern, I think, game plan wise with Jarvis.
Okay.
With Hooper, I'm less inclined to like make an argument with it just because it's tight end and he's had a lot of opportunity and more coming. Like he's been coming into the fold with the offense, but I guess I can argue less for like I have less of an argument against Hooper. Like I feel like you can get away with that play more so than Landry. And
at a way less deep position, I think Hooper makes a decent play this week.
Exactly.
Like, he's in the same level as like a Jimmy Graham type of play this week to me. Mm-hmm. So I guess keep that in mind for the Steelers. I'm not trying to play Ben, but I feel like I am trying to play some of the weapons. I guess we should talk about Chase Claypool because
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit, man. Chase Claypool this past week, 4 touchdowns. And like the dude looks legit. He looks like this is going to be too much. He looks like Calvin Johnson out there. Like he looks fucking incredible.
Okay.
He looks really good.
He looked awesome and has looked awesome, but very high praise. Very high praise.
I mean, he's like 6'6" and just like crushing people. So I don't know what you want me to say. But with Deontay Johnson out another week, he's guaranteed a spot in terms of like the top 3 wide receiver pass catchers. To me, he's the number 1 Steelers wide receiver to play this week. I don't give a shit. I mean, like
he has more upside than Juju with, I guess, half the target share. And I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. No, I could see that. Do you have like opinions on Washington or Juju in any sort of way, really?
I think Juju's going to be fine. I saw a lot of people freaking out because he was very uninvolved. But like when a guy is popping off like that and able to score you 4 touchdowns, like you kind of don't give a shit at that point.
Yeah.
But I do think Juju games are definitely going to be, on the come up. But
the Browns also have been bad against the slot, so maybe that's a reason to go to Juju over Claypool or James Washington, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough there. What about Ebron? Do you have an inkling on Ebron?
I always love Ebron, but I don't know. I feel like his target share is pretty low. I'd rather play Austin Hooper.
He dropped like a really open pass last week too.
He also fumbled.
Yeah. I'd also rather play Hooper, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so running backs, do you trust James Conner in this matchup? Because I do not.
No, I do. I think James Conner's an every week slam.
He's like not getting the snap share that we kind of like thought earlier in the year. Like he had that one game where he lost it to Benny Snell. And then he came back and was great, but like, maybe I'm wrong here.
I think they're just trying to keep him fresh. I really think they're trying to not fucking, because obviously, he left in the Giants game, first game of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think they were just like, oh fuck, we can't really run this guy into the ground again. So I think they're trying to take care of him. So as long as you start still getting around 60%, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, 18 or more touches for the past 3 games that he's been that they've played. So I can't argue with that. I was trying to make some dumb point there. Anyway, I'll take the Browns here.
Oh, Steelers, easy.
All right. That's going to do it for the first half, but we will be back with how many more games do we have? 7 more games. 7 more games, and we will be back very soon. So
you're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, home of the brutally honest fantasy advice you've always needed.
All right, guys, we are back. And before we get into the last 7 games of the week, we need to tell you about a special thing that's happening because, Vinny, it is winning season, and winning season returns at MyBookie. So what does that mean? Winning season means doubling your first deposit. It means insane props, epic bonuses, and the craziest cross-sport wagers, because at MyBookie, winning season means watching live sports and betting live sports all season long. So rejoice, because the NFL has returned. That means action-packed Sundays and huge cash prizes. So get in on the action. Use that promo code Let's Talk. That's LETSTALK, and double your first deposit. I said that like pause, deposit.
Pause?
Deposit, like on a dog, you know.
Deposit.
Anyway, new players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. So bet with the best this season for your chance to win big, and use that promo code. Do I have a Baltimore accent all of a sudden? What the fuck is happening?
You're doing like South Jersey mixed with Boston, and it sucks.
Yeah, no, I hate it. Use that promo code Let's Talk and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today, only at MyBookie. You make any good bets lately? I didn't really bet too much this past week.
I'm not doing great anymore. I need to get back on the horse. Hopefully this week. That's what I say every week.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the week, I think. And let's start off getting into that week with the Texans at the Titans. The Titans are a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. The Texans coming off of coming off of getting rid of Bill O'Brien, looked like pretty decent.
Jags helped that too.
Yeah, that's true. They were playing the Jags, but the Titans haven't had a good defense this year either. I know they've been winning a lot of games, but I believe they're 27th overall in DVOA. Did I make that up? Oh no, that's literally not even close to the correct number. All right, whatever. They're 19th.
I think they're like middle of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, they're an okay defense. So I don't know. I mean, we just saw Brandon Cooks go for a spike week. Will Fuller seems like he's an every week type of guy. David Johnson, I feel like with his usage, has to be an every week type of guy. And you're not sitting Deshaun Watson. Would you like to desit Deshaun? No. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much what's going on there. I feel like you have to play Fuller, you have to play Johnson, you have to play Watson. And outside of that, there's a couple of maybes. Am I off there?
I think there's really only one maybe, and it's Cooks. I think playing him this week's a little point chasey, but I could totally get it. Like, what if Romeo Crennel is like, hey, let's fucking throw it to the guy that we spent a second-round pick on to replace DeAndre Hopkins? But that's wishful thinking, perhaps. I don't know. I feel like in a plus matchup, he'd be more inclined to play Cooks, whereas this one's kind of middle of the road, so I feel like Will Fuller probably gets the rub here. But yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, they're kind of an easy team. Like you're playing all the guys you said, and then the maybe is Cooks.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. but yeah.
Yeah, they're just a strange team. I feel like they're underperforming, but I also feel like they were dealt a shit hand with the schedule, and they were dealt a shit hand with a coach who fucked them up.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. So I guess let's move right to the Titans, where we've got A.J. Brown with no injury designation, but Corey Davis is still out on the COVID list, and Adam Humphries comes back from the COVID list. So I think no matter what, Tannehill's a good start here. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, he's definitely up the streaming ladder. I'd probably say I'd be splitting hairs between him and Dalton this week, but I would definitely play Stafford or Minshew over both of them. Okay,
yeah, I like that. I think I like exactly what you said. I think you pretty much nailed it there. So AJ Brown, I think, is a no hesitation. Go for it. Do you have
fucking cool was that? I hope people played him, or it's like that random Tuesday thing. So I hope they got to enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely. He's so good, man. Like he's just so good.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in Humphries?
No.
Okay. What about Jonnu?
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of worked his way into the every single week tight end one.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's gotten way lucky with touchdowns. So Jonnu on the year has
that's tight end, baby. Doesn't matter.
He has 5 touchdowns so far this year. Like,
what's the thing when they get down there, they're targeting him. I think he's the most targeted tight end down in the red zone. There
is no way that touchdown regression does not come to him. He has 5 touchdowns on 27 targets. Like, get out of here.
That's great. I feel like that's very sustainable.
We love ourselves a sustainable tight end. But yeah, I mean, in this matchup, it's obviously a no-brainer to play Jonnu. So then let's talk about Derrick Henry, who has really been a disappointment and has been a touchdown-dependent guy this year, as opposed to last year where he was just like smashing people. Despite who did he stiff arm into like the next dimension this past week?
Yeah, we forgot his name. That's how hard he was fucked into the fucking what is it? The nether realm. Who's on the Bills that he coached? Josh Norman.
There we go. Oh wow, how do we forget that?
Because he was erased from existence.
Yeah, no, that's probably correct. But in all seriousness, like Henry hasn't been that incredible of a fantasy asset, and
he's been a low too, and it's not necessarily his fault. I don't even know what's going on with their offense. I mean, it's just not hitting like it was last year. We kind of called it like that was the risk taking Henry. You knew this would happen. Not involved in the passing game at all. Besides a couple of screenplays possibly here and there, but it's really coming to fruition now. But they were resting him last week a lot. They played McNichols, I think Evans too, but I think he's hurt now. So I think it's just McNichols now.
Yeah, Evans is out.
Backing him up. So I don't know if they were keeping him healthy because they were fucking the Bills up or what, but I feel like he's going to get a ton of carries here. And I just think it's a volume play at this point, and you can do a lot worse than a volume play at running back in these days.
Yeah, I mean, you're not considering sitting him, I don't think, particularly against this.
No, just like discussing like the state of the Derrick Union right now.
Yeah, no, sorry, you're correct. That's the right call. I mean, like this should theoretically be like a smash week for him, which maybe that's a reason to get on him in DraftKings because he's been disappointing, and you know, people will be a little reticent to click his name, but yeah, it should be a great week for him. I mean, Houston is 26th in rush DVOA. I know their offensive line I don't think is as good as it was last year, which might be playing a role in his general performance. I mean, who knows? Maybe he has some sort of undisclosed injury. That sort of thing happens all the time, where, you know, you look for a reason for decreased efficiency, like in a guy, and they're like, at the end of the season, they're like, yeah, he was battling like this the entire year. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, I wish I would have known that. But
shit.
But I mean, it's also early to say that too. You know, it's only 5 weeks. It's a small sample size. So keep rolling Derrick Henry as you would. And I'm going to take the Texans here.
I was taking them too. I do like them here. I think the Titans on a short week too. So if there is that.
It's true. That is true. All right, Broncos at Patriots. As we said early in the podcast, we don't know if this game is going to be played when it should be. We don't know if it's going to be played at all. But we're going to preview it like it is. Drew Lock should be back, so no more Brett Rippon, no more Jeff Driscoll. We got Drew Lock. Also, Melvin Gordon got a DUI, so
and was sick today. So
not to laugh at like a serious thing, but it's like, man,
there's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. So in my brain, and I say this as a Philip Lindsay owner who literally just traded for him.
Philip Lindsay's gonna go off.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna go off, but
Philip Lindsay's a great volume play.
Yes, and I say that because normally, like, so there's not going to be any punishment from the league for Melvin Gordon this week because that kind of thing takes time. It takes like court situations or whatever. But
and if it's egregious, it happens immediately. So there's just like the in between part right now.
Right. So this sort of thing, it reminds me of Zeke a couple of years ago, where like immediately Jerry Jones was like, we're going to see what happens in court. And it's like, okay, that means Zeke is going to play. Like this week, the Broncos, like when the news broke and they were asked like, is Melvin Gordon going to be active this week? They were like, we don't know. So it seems like they might be considering punishing him on their own. And I think maybe I'm just trying to talk myself into the Philip Lindsay play, but I think even if he's active, they might try and do you dress and you wear your pads on the sideline and watch this other guy run the ball, like to punish you type of thing. Am I like out of my mind on that? Or like, I feel like Vic Fangio is that kind of coach.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a dick that would do that, but a little out of your mind, yes, but in the realm of possibility, also yes.
So is Philip Lindsay a bad play then?
No, because at worst, I mean the matchup, yes, it's fucking dog shit, but at worst, Philip Lindsay is going to get 50 to 60%, depending on like how this game flows. Because I feel like he's more inclined to. Melvin Gordon's also good at catching passes. I don't know. Fuck.
Right? It's like really tough.
This sucks. And like I said, talking it out blows. I don't like this.
I'm talking myself into being like,
he's not a smash. He's definitely not a smash. That is for sure. Just because there's so much unknown. If Melvin Gordon isn't active, this becomes a lot easier. Obviously, we don't have that information now. I mean, you're playing Lindsay anyway. What's your gut feeling right now? I mean, besides all the shit you just kind of laid out, it doesn't feel good, right?
No, it doesn't feel good at all, and I'm looking for any excuse not to do it.
You're trying to make it feel good.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it feel good by saying they like the fact that they didn't immediately say like we'll see what the league says or what the court says or whatever. It makes me think they might actually punish Melvin Gordon for it. Plus, like the supposed illness from practice today and like the questionable tag, all of it makes me think that Philip Lindsay is a good play this week. But it's tough to say for sure. We should mention on the Broncos side of the ball that Noah Fant appears to be a truly questionable game time decision.
Straight up 50-50 from the coaching staff's mouth, I guess.
And Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick are going to play or whatever, but like I don't want to play anyone else there.
Yeah, that's about it. Pretty cut and dry.
All right, Patriots side of the ball. This also fucking sucks. So Cam's back. So we get Cam, which means maybe he's the running back.
I think if he's fully back, they run the fuck out of this. They have 40 minutes of the game time. I think they just kind of bleed.
So then do you play Damian Harris? Do you play Rex Burkhead? Like what do you play?
No. I never touch those guys. Oh God. The Damian Harris thing is like such a Belichick, like dangling a carrot in front of us idiots. And James White and Burkhead are much better in games where you think they're going to catch passes in a high scoring game. But again, that's also shit that they weed out as well. I'm staying away from everybody except Cam and possibly Edelman just because the Broncos suck against the slot. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's pretty much all I got as well. I literally do not know like what to think about this matchup.
Yeah, man. It's so up in the air.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to take the Broncos. Who cares?
That's dumb as shit. Patriots.
All right. Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins are a 9-point favorite. The over-under is 47.5. I'm going to say some more dumb as shit stuff for this game too. The Jets. Joe Flacco is at quarterback.
Yep.
Le'Veon Bell is gone. We have somehow gotten to this point in the podcast without mentioning that. So obviously you're not playing any running backs. Jamison Crowder is a locked and loaded play in this game.
That's it.
Jamison Crowder, at
least
10 targets, at least 100 yards in every game that he has played so far this season. And I am going to say this for my daily fantasy lineups, and I'm going to be upset when it loses me a bunch of money on Sunday.
100% Crowder?
No, not 100% Crowder, because I think he might be a little bit owned. But one of the stacks that I am on, because the Jets are very bad at outside cornerback, is going to be Fitz, Parker, Preston Williams, and Crowder all in the same lineup.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. I didn't expect that answer. Okay.
No, I do like that. I mean, I thought you were going to say something like very Jets heavy, like I have Flacco stacked. I'm like, you're stupid.
I'm going to play Jeff Smith.
I was waiting for that dumb shit. I was like, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just flipped to the Dolphins pretty much, but yeah, I think you're fucking dead on. I mean, Fitzpatrick is up there with streamers that we were talking about, like Minshew Stafford level. Jets are fucking awful. Parker slam, 10 targets every single game. Preston Williams is sneaky, like 8 targets a game.
And he had a good game this past week too, which makes
he did
a little bit more comfortable.
What do you think about Gaskin? Miles the Fridge Gaskin.
So I like Miles the Fridge Gaskin in this matchup because the Jets have been good efficiency wise against running backs, but they're getting a ton of volume against running backs because they're down so much. So running backs are obviously going against them. So Jordan Howard was a healthy scratch this past week, and Miles the Fridge Gaskin got 5 carries inside the 5.
And scored a touchdown.
That should be enough, just like right there, to let you know that it's a good play. I know Breda got a little bit more playing time as well. I'm not really too worried about that. Play Miles the Fridge Gaskin for sure.
Yeah, love Miles the Fridge Gaskin.
All right. We kind of talked about Parker and Williams, but I think they're both Parker like obvious, but I think Williams is in a good situation where you can play him this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all right, let's try this. Brandon Cooks, Preston Williams.
Fuck you. Preston Williams.
Okay. Yeah, I think I lean that way too. Just for guaranteed target, just because Cooks is he's been very up and down. So I think.
But I mean, Williams hasn't been good really either. I don't know. That's a really tough one.
Playing the Jets helps.
It really does. It helps a lot. I think, yeah, you're right. I think Preston Williams just for that. So the guy that we need to talk about is Gesicki.
I'm having a hard time owning this dude, man. He's great. And then Fitzpatrick just peppers everyone else but him.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 2 spike weeks and 3 like pretty bad weeks, and one of those 3 bad weeks was saved by a touchdown. And
the way he does it is he does well against really good, really bad matchups, and then really poorly against good matchups. So it's made me, I don't know, it's fucked my brain up because I hate even worrying about tight end, and now I have this guy who's very good, but I don't know, it's been fucking me up.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good matchup for it. I think Gesicki can do something. He's one of the guys that like. I'm considering in that game stack, I'm considering throwing Gesicki in maybe for Williams. And like if I run like 5 lineups of that game stack, I'll put Gesicki in instead of Williams in 2 of them or that kind of thing, you know? That's kind of like where I'm looking at it. But I don't think it's a guarantee, but I do think it's a good enough matchup. And at tight end, like fucking roll the dice and go for it.
Yeah.
All right, who you got in this one?
Dolphins.
Me too. All right. We have the Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Packers are a 1-point favorite with an over-under of 55, which outside of the Monday afternoon / evening game, I think is the highest over-under of the week. It is really crazy this year how many over-unders have been over 50. I feel like that was a rare thing in the past. And it seemed like kind of the standard this year. Have you noticed that? Yeah,
I think it's just the whole lack of preparation by defenses, like with the no offseason and all that. And just the fact that I think the pressure is massively on defenses more than offenses, obviously. Because you have the short weeks, all the shit changes, overs are hitting massively. There really hasn't been, other than the Colts, like fantasy-wise, like a smash defense play. I think I own the Bucks, and they're very frustrated. They're like,
I just dropped them,
dude. I picked up Washington to play over them, but I still have the Bucks. But dude, they're ranked 3rd, and they are, I think, 30 points behind the Colts. Like, it's absolutely nuts. It just shows that defense is not even like remotely a thing right now. I think it's going to catch up. But right now, it's too much.
Yeah, it's not that big of a consideration at this point. And like we said in this game, the Packers are a 1-point favorite with an over-under of 55. The big news on the Packers side is obviously Davante Adams is going to play. So that changes everything in terms of the looks of their offense. The Bucs have a good defense. Like you said, they have a great secondary. It does not matter. Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, Aaron Jones. That's it, I think, but that's the 3 smash plays in this matchup.
I agree with the smashes, but got to talk about Robert Tonyan.
Please do.
I just think he's getting into like the Jonnu Smith like territory, right? Like, I mean, I think he's catching like 80% of his passes. He blew up in one fucking week.
He's Jonnu Smith last year. He's Jonnu Smith this year is getting targets. Robert Tonyan, I'm pretty sure I think
he has 5 a game though, right?
So in weeks 2, 3, and 4, he had 3, 5, and 6 targets. Like, and in that time, he caught 6 touchdowns.
He is Jonnu Smith.
He has 6 touchdowns on 13 targets this year. And he also played 62% of snaps week 1 and got 0 targets. And that was the one week that Davante Adams played the whole time. So I am skeptical. Like, I'm not going to write off Tonyan completely, but I am also really, really skeptical that he's a good play when Davante Adams is out there, because he has only had good games when Davante Adams is on the sideline. That being said, Aaron Rodgers is a trust guy, and like particularly in the red zone, it's like if he gives you like 7 targets or whatever it is that he's gotten, like that means he trusts you.
Yeah,
but man,
Aaron Rodgers also, he loves to just fuck around. And dude, him playing the Falcons in primetime, that was Aaron Rodgers fucking around and just like, I'm going to laugh when I throw 3 touchdowns to Robert Tonyan. Like, yeah, he was doing that for fun. So he's a sick fuck. But I don't know, with Adams back, you're right. Maybe less of an inclined start there, but it's certainly like, I would not blame people for playing him.
No, because tight end is fucked. But
exactly.
But
so
also, it's not a recommended play from Let's Talk Fantasy Football, I don't think.
Agreed. Also, not to mention, what's his name? Lazard is still on IR. So they're still, I mean, they're always banged up at wide receiver, but like, obviously their one comes back in Adams, but the targets could also shift Tanyan's way too.
They also get Equinemius St. Brown back this week if you have any interest in that.
Shit. No, I don't.
Oh, shit. No. Yeah.
The worst version of MVS. Like, oh, thank God he's back.
Thank God that guy's here. Oh, man. Thank God that guy's here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all we really like. Do you have any interest in Jamal Williams?
No, I own the guy, and it's purely just like a fuck you. I have this guy. If I'm fucked on bye weeks, I could squeeze him in. He can get 8 points type of deal. That's about what Jamal Williams is right now, unless anything happens to Aaron Jones, who is absolutely slaying.
Okay, Bucs side of the ball. I think we're getting both Chris Godwin back, and then Mike Evans should be healthy as well for this.
And Scotty Miller.
Who fucking cares?
That's the wide receiver core, baby. They're back.
So to me, Godwin is the play this week because Jair Evans shadows on the outside, and he's likely going to take – sorry, did I say Jair Evans?
You did say that.
Jair Alexander is shadows on the outside and is likely going to take Mike Evans. I'm fucking dumb as shit. But I have good advice in some occasions. Godwin is on the inside, and that's where the Packers have gotten hit this year in the slot. So I'm on Godwin despite him coming back off the injury. I think it's a sneaky spot for him. Evans has basically been a goal line back for the offense, and I think that kind of stops when they can get like their offense running as it should be. Fournette's questionable. I think he's going to play. I'm not really trying to play him at all, and I'm probably not even – you know what? I'm fine with Jones. We just talked about Jamal Williams. I'm fine with Jones.
Yeah, dude, Rojo's definitely a play. Packers are a little weak at the rush D, so I like that. And the Bucs have really tried to run the ball a lot, and they're really trying to make Ronald Jones a thing. I think regardless of if Fournette is active or not, I think Ronald Jones at least takes probably 75, 80% of that work, at least for this week. We'll see what happens going forward. I'm with you with Godwin, and he has like a much better connection with Brady, it seemed like, when he's out there and healthy. as opposed to Mike Evans, where they're just kind of chucking it up or doing the goal line shit, like you said. So I think I agree with you on both those fronts.
All right. Do we have anything else for this game, or?
Do you think Brady's a play?
No.
Even with the over-under? It's a little sneaky, but I think the Packers D is pretty underrated.
So Brady or Minshew?
I think Brady there. I'd rather play Stafford.
Brady or Fitzpatrick?
Brady? Is that stupid?
Yeah, I would much rather play Fitzpatrick. I don't
want Brady there.
I very much just. I mean, I'm just not.
I think if worst case scenario happens in each game, Fitz hands the ball off to Gaskin a lot, and then worst case for the Bucs, they get down, and then Brady has to throw.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong for wanting to play a quarterback with an implied point total of 27. Like, that's a good thing to do.
Also, I think Brady's been very underrated fantasy-wise because he's been playing kind of shitty, like with the eye test, and obviously doing dumb shit like on Thursday Night Football, not knowing what down it is. But I think he's had a top 15 finish, top 12 every single week. So
that pisses me off, but that's fine.
I know you hate Brady. I know that's why. Yeah, but he's been very, very good. A little underrated. It's very strange.
I have hated Brady since 2002, and like,
let that shit go, man. Brady's the best. I
am never letting the Tuck rule go, and fuck off for that. Anyway, I'm taking the Packers.
Since you're having a little fucking attitude, I am going Bucks.
Fine. Yeah. Have that. Fine, do that. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, let's move on to the Rams at the 49ers. The over-under is 52. The Rams are a 3-point favorite. The Rams are like just like a quietly solid team this year. Like, Jared Goff has been a decent fantasy asset, but not spectacular. And both Kupp and Woods have been decent fantasy assets, but not spectacular. I feel like
so is Henderson. Yeah, everyone's decent.
So Henderson is where we need to have a discussion, because Henderson had that one great game, and then Malcolm Brown had the next good game. Then it was Henderson again. And now this week, McVay says we need to get Akers more involved, which I am hoping and praying on, because I drafted that motherfucker in the 5th round, and I need it to happen.
Are you actually hoping and praying he has a good game? Because this is just a 3-back thing, dude. Like, it doesn't matter who has a good game this week or what. Like, I have Malcolm Brown in a couple leagues, Henderson in a few. Like,
so is there no hope there?
There's no hope. There's no hope. It's straight up hot hand. Oh my God, I have to play this guy. I hope he gets the majority of carries this week. And
so is the answer drop every single one of them, or what?
No, because they do have some kind of value. When no, that's not even true, because they don't. I don't even know. Like, you don't like plugging them into your lineup. You're disgusted.
Yeah, no. I literally only still have Cam Akers on my roster because I drafted him in like the 5th or whatever. I took J.K. Dobbins in the 7th, and I was like, "Fuck this guy!" like 2 weeks ago. You know, like it's. I think it's also a situation, and this is the 3 rookie running backs I was on were Akers, Moss, and Dobbins. And Moss and Akers have been hurt, so it's like the I don't know sort of thing. Whereas Dobbins, it's like proven just like this is not going to happen. So anyway, long-winded story to say, I don't know what the fuck to do with this, and I'm just kind of watching.
Yeah. I mean, same here. It's just like talking to owners of like all these guys. Like, I have Malcolm Brown. I talked to Ed, who has Henderson. He tried to sell Henderson, and like no one's really buying it. Like, it sucks because you don't want to play them. You can't really sell them even on their up weeks because everyone knows you're selling high and it's not sustainable. So I really think it's a no hope situation. Like you said, it's terrible.
All right. So continuing with the Rams, Higbee, I think, cannot be played.
Wait, which sucks. That's
I
disappointing.
don't think either of their tight ends can be. So for the 49ers, again, 52-point over-under, we like that, but Garoppolo got benched for Beathard. Now he's got no injury designation, so he's ready to roll, but like,
what happened then?
Like what does that mean?
I was thinking he was going to miss this week, but if he's like, I'm having a tough time gauging what any of that means. Like, I want to have some faith in Jimmy G. Like, he just wasn't like ready last week, but like then he got fucked up, like getting hit, throwing picks. Like, how did he turn it around in 5 days where he's ready to rock again?
So for me, it's Kittle and it's Mostert, and that's it.
Yeah, Ayuk had his moment. Deebo Samuel's probably going to have his moment coming up, and that's, those are kind of sketchy plays as it is because they don't support the wide receivers.
Mostert came back from injury, and I say this as someone who played Jerick McKinnon in a couple leagues this past week where
he took all the snaps.
I was like, fuck, like Jerick McKinnon must still get like some of like whatever, right? And so perfect game script for McKinnon where they go down big to the Dolphins and he does not get any of the work. It's still just all Mostert. So Mostert's the guy. Don't play McKinnon. Don't play Wilson. Don't play anyone else there. It's Kittle and it's Mostert, and that's about it.
I agree.
All right, who you got in this game?
I want to be sneaky, so I'll take the 49ers here. Maybe Jimmy G's ankle's miraculously healed.
I wish you the best of luck, but I am taking the Rams. Let's go to the Monday afternoon game.
5:00 Eastern.
I cannot wait.
This is awesome, dude.
To tell my job to fuck off at 2 p.m. because I am on the West Coast. Please, if anyone is listening to this who I work for, please do not take, again, allegedly, I'm hypothetically saying that I'm going to fuck off at this time. The Chiefs play the Bills. What a great fucking game. I can't believe this was going to be Thursday night. The Chiefs are a 4.5-point favorite with an over-under of 57.5.
Dude, Thursday night needed this. Like, it was like bad.
Yeah.
They needed this. And I haven't seen, I hope they do get better, like the games. But yeah, this is probably the start of it ramping up. But fuck, I'll take it on Monday 5.
Yeah, I mean, so for the Chiefs, we know that Le'Veon Bell just signed. We also know that he is not going to play in this game because you need 5 days of PCR tests in order to be eligible to play on a new team. PCR test is like the nose swab gimmick, which I've done a bunch of times. If you are a COVID bitch or a COVID denier, it's really easy. It's not bad. Just take it. But anyway, what do you think about the Chiefs against this Bills defense who has really underperformed to this point with what we thought they were going to do?
So, hot take here, I guess. I think the Chiefs just fucked them up. I think that loss to the Raiders, it was rough, and I really think they come out and prove a point. I think they fucked the Bills up. I think they took they both kind of took tough losses to ones like they didn't really expect. Like, we thought the Bills were going to mess up the Titans. They got their asses kicked. So I just think that the Chiefs are undeniable. I think the Bills are new and up and coming. I just think they're in over their heads. I think they come out just slinging. I think Mahomes goes off. CEH goes off, hopefully, his last-ditch effort before Bell gets there. And then, yeah, just the normal suspects for the Hill, Kelsey. I think they just slam.
Okay, so I have things to say about this, which I think, one, these are both teams that like both had weird performances based on what we expected going into this past week, whereas the Chiefs, we thought they were just going to steamroll the Raiders, right? And the Bills, we thought they were going to not necessarily steamroll the Titans, but definitely win. And like they looked kind of bad based on that. So these are both teams coming off of like, the weird situation type of thing. So for the Chiefs, like, I know obviously CEH has like the pressure on or whatever, but One, where do you think that's a thing that he can do this week? Do you think he can be productive? And I think the other thing with the Chiefs is that you didn't mention is that Sammy Watkins is out. And I think a lot of people are going to plug in Mecole Hardman, but if we
I ignored that like on purpose. I don't think that's a good play.
No, if we remember back to last year, the direct backup for Tyreek Hill was Mecole Hardman, and the direct backup for Sammy Watkins was Byron Pringle. And last year, Byron Pringle saw his first catch all year after Sammy Watkins got hurt. So I think the people trying to plug in Mecole Hardman might be jumping the gun on that. I don't think it's happening.
No, it's a bad idea. I would not advise that you do that. Like we talked about, like the sketch Mecole Hardman plays as is. Like people were doing that. Like they're definitely doing it this week. So I would advise.
This week I think play CEH, play Hill, play Kelsey, and kind of drop it after that.
I got to ask you. You don't own any CEH, right?
No CEH.
So your unbiased opinion of like the Le'Veon Bell effect, because I've had a tough time because I own him in our biggest league, and I can't even form like an opinion. Like I have like the best case scenario, I have the worst case scenario, obviously in my head, but I want to get your take.
So I have a tough time as well because if we get peak Le'Veon, then all of a sudden we have and like the Adam Gase effect is real,
right? Like you go from Adam Gase and you become
it is entirely possible that next week when Le'Veon is healthy, we get 2017 Steelers Le'Veon. You know, like that is 100% possible.
We haven't seen it since 2017, but
who was the best running back in the NFL? Like that's not even close to a question. So I don't know, man. It's tough. It's very difficult to like really project this. And I think if you're a CEH owner, you kind of just have to ride it for now. And like,
I am. It's just like, so like you rationalize like, oh, I'd rather have a piece of the running back on like the best team than not. It's like, I don't know. That kind of sucks to say. It's like, I've rationalized it in so many ways where it's like, all right, Le'Veon Bell comes in. He's the third down back, goal line back. He's an improved, not Damian Williams, Darwin Thompson, like that whole combination of those dudes.
There's no way
it's just better for them.
There's no way that Le'Veon doesn't come in and command more than 50% of the snaps.
Which is kind of like when you look at it, that's what they're kind of floating around as is. So it's like 50 to 60 CEH. And then when you throw in Bell into that situation, like you said, it's probably 50-50. So I don't know.
The question is the offense going to become good enough where they can both be sustainable? And I think the answer is also no. I think if you have CEH, like you're kind of just fucked and you got to deal with it. Like that's like kind of the only thing to happen there.
Yeah. But then like if you're a Bell owner, you might be burning a roster spot every week potentially because you don't know what the fuck is going on either. He's probably he's like I feel like the CEH, he'll kill your running back 2 spot and possibly Bell will kill your flex spot every week. And I think that they'll go up and down, just back and forth. I think that's probably what we're in for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's a tough situation no matter what. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. For the Bills, still love Josh Allen for this week. Zach Moss is practicing in full. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he should play either running back. John Brown
been bad.
Yeah, I mean they had TJ Yeldon very, very involved this week. So like Singletary should probably just kind of like not be there, but you know, we'll see what happens. In this matchup, Steph Diggs is a definite play. John Brown, I think, is like borderline because the Chiefs were actually good against the deep pass until this past week against the Raiders. And then they got fucked by Ruggs. And I don't know what to really think of that, but I'm not like trying to start John Brown this week.
I think I am. With this kind of over-under and the opportunity that I think the Bills will have just perpetually down in this game, I think they're going to have to take shots. And John Brown is much more than just a deep threat. So I think he's going to run, intermediate routes, and Steph Diggs commands a lot of attention as well. So I think Brown is not a sneak. I think it's just a good play.
You might have actually just convinced me by what you said. So,
Like really, like John Brown is very good, and the Bills clearly missed him last week. Like Andre Roberts is fucking dog shit. Cost that early turnover. Like that was a catalyst to them losing. But it just seems like John Brown is more important to this offense than it would appear on the surface when you look at how good Diggs is doing.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I'm going to take the Bills.
Chiefs, big time.
All right, let's move on to the last Monday night game of the week, which is Cardinals at Cowboys. The over-under is 54.5. Cardinals are a 1-point favorite. You would think on the Cardinals side we would want to play Kenyon Drake. Do you want to play Kenyon Drake?
I don't want to, but I think you have to. I think you have to play Drake. I think Edmonds is like also playable.
I think Edmonds is
also
couple
of weeks,
so
man.
I actually have a question in terms of these Cardinals matchups against the Cowboys, which we know is a bad defense with high over under, that sort of thing. Would you rather play in your flex? And I'm asking this because I have to make this decision. Chase Edmonds or Christian Kirk?
Edmonds.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Edmonds has been good, albeit on low volume, but like Drake, if you're going with that narrative, it's like Edmonds has to take over, at least command a bigger share of the carries at some point, but it doesn't really matter because he's been doing so well and it's such a good matchup. I think there is still like a slight hope for Drake. Like they are giving him so many carries, so many opportunities.
But it's getting less and less each week.
It is, but like, on the final stat sheet, it doesn't really show how many times he gets sniped at the goal line by Murray, how many times he gets sniped by like a good play by Edmonds. So I think they still have at least somewhat faith in the guy.
Dude, I think the more weeks that go by, the less they have faith in him. And I'm starting I think Chase Edmonds might get more than 50% of like the snaps this week.
I think this will be very telling. I don't doubt you there, but
it will be very telling for sure.
I don't know. I think Drake, I don't know. They've just been feeding the guy, and I guess it has to stop at some point if he's not producing, but I don't know. Like, and then what if they switch all of a sudden and they declare Edmonds the first back and he just doesn't do well. And then Drake comes in and starts doing the opposite and like busting out big runs on minimal carries. Like it's just, they're a unique offense that's very fun and I don't want to say struggling to find their identity, but they're having a rough time at the running back spot. That is for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And we didn't say it, but you should obviously be playing Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins at that position. So let's move to the Cowboys, where Dak is obviously out, and now we get Andy Dalton in there.
The heir apparent.
The heir apparent, the red rifle. Coming on in, this offensive line is not that good, but this offense has been great. So the question, I think, is where does it change value? So Zeke, I think it doesn't change anything.
I think Zeke might get like a bump up, like slightly, just because they might want to run a little more or take the pressure off Andy for a little bit, at least for the first couple of games. But that's probably where that lays.
Yeah. And then what about Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb? And then I think at this point you have to include Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, and then Dalton Schultz. And I say that because Amari Cooper only got like 58% of the snaps last week. Was that an aberration or is that like a thing that's happening?
That was so weird. He didn't play. Like he was off the field a lot. It was very strange. And there was no injury thing. There was nothing after the game. He got like his last 2 catches in the fourth quarter. Same thing with Michael Gallup, actually. He was not playing either.
Michael Gallup got like 3 targets at the end of the game.
Yeah, so his final stat line makes it seem like he played all game. That was a lot of the final drives, like the last 3 possessions. And that was when Cooper came in too. It was a weird game. I think they wanted to save Cooper and Gallup for future games because they were playing the Giants and they did not give a shit. So CeeDee Lamb went off. We saw Wilson involved a lot. And it was a very strange game. It was very, very weird last week. So I think Cooper and Gallup kind of come back into the fold. And I think CeeDee just kind of stays as like, he's been fucking phenomenal.
See, I think CeeDee remains an incredible target no matter what, because He's targeted in short area, and I think that's where Dalton will be looking more so. Gallup, I think, makes a harder target because he's literally just a go route down the sideline type guy right now, which like has a huge ceiling but has literally no floor. So it makes it hard to target that. And I have a theory, and I want to know, this is like galaxy braining it, but so Amari had like 60% snaps last week, right, in this game. And it's like, the question is like, why did that happen? And my galaxy brain theory is that the Cowboys wanted to get James Bradberry on Michael Gallup running just the sideline routes. So they took out Amari Cooper and put in Cedric Wilson or Noah Brown to actually run like real routes without James Bradberry. So Bradberry would only be on Gallup running the routes straight up the sideline. So that's why Amari Cooper had the lower snap count, because they were trying to get
actually incredible. You're smarter than Mike McCarthy, so I don't think any of this is true. And definitely, yeah, I think you're smarter than Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore combined. So I don't think they exactly chalk that up. But I like where your head's at, just to not get off Cooper or panic or on him or Gallup. So I'm inclined to say I think you're right. Your galaxy brain is doing the right thing here.
This is me at waking up at 3 a.m. and being like they were trying to get James Bradberry on Michael Gallup. Like that's like.
Well, no, I mean I watched that game a lot. Like it was, America's game of the week, whatever the fuck. And it was strange. Like there was just no Michael Gallup. There's no Amari Cooper, like constantly on and off the field. So it was like, you might be right. But it was, if I had to guess, that's a dumb fucking game plan. Like dick around like the Giants like that. Like you should just fuck them up and, move on. And obviously they played a closer game than they would have liked to. Obviously they lost Dak as well. But I don't hate your like that. It makes sense, but it is very, very out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if I think we talked about it before, but like Dalton, great streamer this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's not Dak, and this offense is not going to be making massive, huge plays constantly. Like they get in a hole that they've been in this season with Dak. Dak gets out of it. Andy, probably not. He'll still throw, get garbage time, but he is not Dak. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot less high octane stuff. I'm wondering what Andy we get. I don't know if he's going to spread it around too much. I feel like if his time in Cincinnati is telling, it's going to be like he'll lean on Cooper as his one, and then he'll lean on CeeDee Lamb as his outlet.
I think he's going to lean on Lamb a lot, and I like Lamb a lot for the rest of the season because that offensive line is not that good.
He's also been the best. He's been arguably their best wide receiver. I mean, Cooper's had a pretty good go, but CeeDee Lamb is busted out.
And dude, short area targets, that's what Dalton's going to hit, and that's what Lamb does. So
yeah, and also Dalton to Dalton, they are going to crush some serious short range shit, dude.
So, all right. So that's our last hot take of the podcast. The Dalton to Dalton stack. Andy Dalton to Dalton Schultz will win you $1 million on DraftKings.com.
Okay.
Please do not actually do that based on our advice. Allegedly, we are not making that advice. Whatever I said before, hypothetically. Yeah, if the Dalton to Dalton stack does all of that, I will show up at Matt Patricia's house with a gun. All right, guys, that's good. I think going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Make sure you check out mybookie.ag. And Vinny, you got anything else before we go?
Not really. Keep clutching those nuts. We'll keep playing these games.
All I do is clutch my nuts and lose money at fantasy football. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. And for Vinny, I am Walsh. We are Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Later, podcast.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.